Okay, we're rolling. Our feet are washed. Our feet are put away inside socks. Clean feet over here on That Sounds Like a Podcast. Okay?
We're not making it a moment.
We're not going to make this a moment, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I like Benny Bronco more now, I'm not going to lie. I think he's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, that really did show his personality. I mean, it is kind of like disgusting, but it's funny at the same time. It really is bringing some humor into this time.
I watched the episode. We're talking about the Friends Keep Secrets podcast with Benny Bronco and Little Dicky, if you didn't catch the drip. But in the first few seconds of the episode, this dude, it started with his feet. It has to be rage bait. It literally started with the shot of his feet like this on the couch, and 2 seconds in, he's farting. Just
It puts the camera.
Yeah.
Did you catch it?
Catch that?
I gotta grab my coffee. Hold on.
Oh, wait. Okay, so let's talk about what happened last week before we get to the juiciness. We have more juicy stories this week, guys. Crazy story time is coming. But we kind of popped off last week.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I woke up and we were like getting up close to our most viewed video. And then like I take a nap and it's like doubled. And now we're over 1,000 or like, I don't even know what it is
We're
now.
at 1,500. We're at 1.5K.
Y'all did that one. We love y'all for that. Thank you.
Oh, shout out to the YouTube algorithm, because I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, I've always been interested in listening whenever influencers kind of like break the third wall and they start talking about like algorithms and stuff and how things have changed over the years, because YouTube used to be really good about the trending like Explorer page, and people used to find people on YouTube like that all the time, but I never find anybody through YouTube suggestion personally, and that's where we got all these views from, because I was looking through the analytics and it was like that's where everybody came from. So love you, YouTube. Honestly, my new favorite platform, because TikTok is broken.
I love YouTube. I'm always watching YouTube. That I'm faithful to YouTube, and I love you for that, YouTube. Shout out to you. Can we come to y'all's studio yet? Are we?
Yeah, like, do you love us now? Like, you love
us? Like, come on.
So another thing that came out of last week's episode, I didn't even tell Jenna about this because I was so embarrassed whenever it was first brought to my attention. But over 1,000 people heard me say Anne Hitch instead of Anne H last week. I said her name wrong at least 50 times. I never said her name right. I thought her name was Anne Hitch. And I'm so sorry. So sorry that I did that so many times. Literally did not know how to pronounce her name. And this man commented and was like, at the bare minimum, you could at least pronounce her name right. And I was like,
H, okay? Don't come from our southern sayings of we can't pronounce names, okay?
I swear I saw somebody else do that. Like, I'm not the only one, because I was saying it with conviction. I was saying it with my whole chest.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again. I thought that was how it was said. It wasn't like a little mess up. That's just what I thought. And I was completely wrong. And it was brought to my attention, and I apologize.
At the bare minimum.
Yeah, I was like, girl, you didn't have to say it like that. You didn't have to say it like that. It really hurt my feelings.
It's okay.
But I mean, he was right. He was right. So, like, that made it hurt even more.
And he deleted his comments, so I guess.
Yeah, the comment's not there anymore, but I did go to his page because I saw it. It popped up. I saw it right when he said it. So I went to his page and he had one reel, and it was like him in like a little red Marlboro Light hat. It was a white man with a pedo stash, and he was smoking a cig. And that was the only thing he had posted on his page. I was like, you know what? I feel better now.
That's funny. But anyway.
Yeah, back to the algorithms of things and TikTok literally being broken. There's been some weird stuff going on with TikTok for like the past 2 months, I feel like.
Yes, there has. There's literally, I'm going to read y'all what mine were. Let me pull it up real quick.
With the search histories?
Yeah.
Wild.
So, TikTok, got bought out by the Oracle. And a lot of people were saying that they had this happen too, and it went viral. It was really random. And I still have this problem with mine. Like, even after going and blocking the Oracle, I don't know what's going on with it, but it's really creepy. Like, mine says, she'll insert the picture I sent it to her. Don't close your door at night. How to know if someone's been in your room. Do you want to see footage of your parents? And yeah. And then one's literally the Oracle.
That's the only weirdish one that's popped up on mine is Oracle being on there. And everything else for me has just been normal. But I have seen like a lot of people posting about like what is going on with this. And the main thing that's affected my account has been glitches ever since the US side of TikTok was bought by Oracle. There's been glitches with posting, and it's like the video will not leave your page, and the only way that you can view it is if somebody searches you up. So the video just stay at 0, and it was an app wide thing for a few days at the beginning of February. And then recently now it just happens every once in a while for me. Like I'll post something and just nothing will happen.
This one girl that I watched, Lillian Claire, that does the food stuff, she actually had people that got unsubscribed from her, like unfollowed from her TikTok account because it messed up.
Britney Spears got a DUI on the 4th.
I seen that. I seen the picture.
I feel like this was the first thing she was in the news for that was actually like not about her conservatorship, not about if it's even her. Like this is the first time she's really been in the news about something like this in a long time. But she got a DUI in California late one evening after being stopped by California Highway Patrol because she was driving suspiciously. So like they pulled her over knowing that she was probably under the influence, but nothing's come back that said what was in her system yet. But she was arrested.
Imagine they told her to walk the line. She started doing her twirls.
For real. Also, I didn't see anything if she had to like blow or do a test or anything, but she did one of those because she was arrested at 9:30 on March 4th, and she was booked and didn't get out till March 5th. She actually had to stay. She was released at 6 a.m.
People were using that as a way to bring her up as being suggested in the Epstein files 115 times for them, like they tested drugs on her.
We brought her up during the Hollywood conspiracy episode because one of the juiciest file that she was in said that she was accepted for some type of project. I'll insert the person's name here, but it sounded like a scientist or something. But just like everything else from the emails, there's really no clarification exactly what that was. But we should dive deeper into that in a later episode to see like what the doctor actually does and stuff, because I haven't seen any clarification on that.
Is it crazy to say that I feel like they were trying to control her in a way that they were trying to like control Marilyn Monroe, like how they had her on a whole bunch of drugs and stuff like that? I feel like she's our generation's Marilyn Monroe.
That's so tea, and I fully believe that. Speaking of celebrities not being who they say they are, Jim Carrey's been huge on that on social media this week.
Yeah, so we all know what Jim Carrey looks like. We all know him.
He's just a real guy. Like, he's just 100% real. Like, he seems like a normal person, unlike a lot of people that are, like, really out of touch.
Yeah, like, he's just at the point where he said that he doesn't have to do the most anymore because he's got what he wants. And there's been, like, videos where he's like, I said that I was going to come to the most pointless thing, and here I am. And he's just a real one for that, and like calling people out about stuff. And then recently he was shown at the Caesar Awards in France, I'm pretty sure this was, and people were noticing that he obviously looked so much different. Looked like he had like face work done, was talking differently, his eye color was differently. There's a picture. His eyes were not even just a different color, but there was also like a different shape. And started acting like he actually cared about what was going on and not acting like himself or doing like as many jokes as he would. Like he did a joke on stage, obviously for performance,
Yeah, there's an old episode of Jimmy Kimmel when Jim Carrey goes on there and he's like spilling all the tea. So we're gonna react to that, and then Jenna sent me some videos too of him on other talk shows, and we're gonna talk about that. But I think starting with this video is really cool because he's like literally calling them out. You'll see.
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on.
He is a real one. Like, he calls out everybody for their bullshit and what's actually going on. And I feel like if it's true, the cloning, I'm not quite sure what I feel. Like, obviously that was not Jim Carrey, but they definitely would have came for him for this. And then the other video I sent you.
Jim Carrey is a great character, and I was lucky to get the part. But I don't think of that as me anymore. If I ever shave my face again, you'll know. My favorite funny face is the one I'm wearing right now.
He's never done anything like this. He's always been like a pretty clean shaven dude. Now he has this gigantic beard and he's telling people, like, I don't know how long he's had this beard. I'm gonna do my research. But it's suspicious to me. To like, now I'm popping out with this huge ass beard, but just know when it's gone, there's some funny stuff.
Exactly how Kanye was like, if I disappear, then I come back, then you know what happens. It's like giving the same type of energy. Speaking of rage bait, there is this image going around, inserted right here. People have been claiming to see aliens, some sort of alien bubble spaceship type of thing in the sky in Florida. But the thing is, at the same time, Elon announced that he was sending out SpaceX rockets. And so people are on the other side of this saying that that is just the rocket exploding and that bubble that it created was the fuel coming out in the sky. Which I do kind of believe because that is around the same time that they supposedly, everyone in Florida seen it in the sky.
I've seen that on my For You page earlier this month, and it was like a religious thing. It was like the end times, Jesus coming back, signs in the sky type of stuff. And I was like, wow, that's really beautiful. Like, it was really pretty, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And then also, it's really interesting because I feel like if it is the Elon Musk rocket thing, that just really shows how much technology and like space stuff has really progressed. Because back in the day, if something like that was happening, it would be huge. Like, people would be coming from around the country to watch these rockets go off and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, like, nobody knew about that?
I mean, they did. Well, so I personally didn't know about it, but my cousin was telling me about it. And that's how I found out that that's what they were talking about with Elon, because he actually thinks Elon's cool and all that. Power to you. But, yeah, because I was sitting there believing, like, whoa, this is some alien shit for real. Like, what? This is so pretty. This is cool. We're making bubbles in the sky.
Okay, so this brings us to the main topic of the day. I'm very excited to talk about this because I have been interested in this for years. Really interested in the whole alien thing. That's not my vibe. I don't even like sci-fi movies.
Pick me. Choose me.
Just this man in general is really interesting. David Huggins, guys. I'm saying the last name right. Let's go ahead and fact check that one time to be sure.
I'm gonna go look at it real quick and make extra special, extra sure.
I'm being dramatic though, because I really have known about this for years.
I've never heard of it, but I have been interested to know stuff about aliens since our president, not my president, y'all's president, claims that he's going to release stuff about aliens just to distract us from the Epstein files. But instead of doing that, he decided to start a war on vibes.
If you're interested in that, buckle up because this is a wild story. Okay, so David Huggins, a little sneak peek of why we're talking about this dude. Basically, he has had countless interactions with aliens throughout his whole life. So, little backstory on David. He grew up in Paulding County, Georgia, which is wild for Georgia girls. What do you mean this was happening in Georgia? He was born in 1944, and he grew up with his parents being pretty bad drunks, and they would get angry, especially his dad. And he grew up pretty rough on the farm outside of Marietta. So his childhood, he spent a lot of time alone where he would explore the outdoors, and he was really interested in collecting arrowheads.
Period. I did the same thing. Me and my dad went arrowhead hunting.
So, in a nutshell, his childhood wasn't that great. His home life wasn't that great. So he spent a lot of time outside. And in 1952, when David was just 8 years old, he had his first encounter with a celestial being, an extracelestial being. So he was playing outside underneath a tree, and he heard a voice say, "David, behind you." And he turned around to see a small creature with large glowing eyes standing behind him. And for a second, he said, this was the really weird part of this story. He said for a second, he felt like he was inside the creature's eyes looking at himself.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So the thing about David is that he was an artist, and in his later life, he decided to make all of his artwork depict his encounters. So we're going to put up a picture of the first being that David saw when he was 8. It kind of gives like a little Sasquatch vibe, like a little baby Bigfoot or something. So she said it wasn't that big, but he looked at it for a while, and then he decided that he should run. Like, yeah, maybe you should get out of there. And then he looked back over his shoulder when he was running away, and he saw the creature go back into the woods. But for some reason, he felt like he shouldn't tell anybody about this. And in that same year, while he was working out by the barn behind his house, he saw a praying mantis figure. This is a big part of the story coming up. But he saw this for the first time when he was 8 years old. He notices the creature, and then he screamed. And when he screamed, he was squirted with some gray-blue liquid.
Ew.
Yeah, interesting. Wonder what that was. But he said as he was running away, it started to evaporate. So by the time he got around other people that he could tell about this, there was no evidence of anything that happened.
I would have I don't know. That's crazy. Just getting squirted with some mysterious liquid. I'd be freaking out.
Yeah.
Messed up.
But interestingly enough, he's not the only person to have claimed to have seen this. And apparently these praying mantis creatures are some of the most reported sightings of beings like this. I never heard of the praying mantis situation before, but that sounds terrifying. I'm scared of actual praying mantises. So the next time he sees anything, he was 9 years old. And he was walking through a field on the way to a friend's house when he felt like somebody was watching him. And he said he heard a sound that sounded like a cow mooing. We're in the field, farm territory, probably was a cow. But he looks over and sees a glowing gray face behind the bushes. And the second that he sees it, he faints. But this story is a little bit patchy to me because he says that he faints, right? But he also says that once he was laying down on the ground, several of these gray creatures came and were all around him. But then he also says when he woke up, he was in a completely different spot of the field that was like, he remembers there being tall grass. But these gray beings have also been reported to be seen a lot by people. And he's not the only person that claimed this. And the pictures are all wearing blue suits. They really just look like anything that anybody, like little cartoon aliens that everybody has seen and it's suspected to be fictional.
But that have like human-like features.
Yeah, we'll get into that more because some of them did, and some of them were more human looking than others, is what he came to find out. Because that same night, he remembers they were in his room and bringing him outside, and he was sent up into an aircraft. And he said that their aircrafts look like discs. So it's like what the old school alien cartoons would call saucers.
Yeah.
And once he was inside the craft, he was brought in front of a female alien with long black hair and long black fingernails. She was taller than the little gray people being whatever situations. And she was holding some type of rod. And once he got in front of her, he was close enough to be in reaching distance of her. She stuck the rod up his nose and inserted something, and it hurt him. So he was like, that hurt. And she said, let me see, and came closer to him. And once he was closer, he said all of his pain just went away.
Interesting.
And it seems like he started to realize during this time when he was around 8 or 9 years old that he didn't have to be afraid of them because they didn't want to hurt him. And I mean, I feel like him being a child, it's easy to understand why he would feel that way.
If they wanted to hurt him, they would have done it with the several other times that they've seen him. So they're just watching him, like studying him.
Exactly. And also during this time, because they continue to visit him throughout his childhood. And one thing that he started to notice is whenever he was around them, when he was around the beings, all of the noise around him would go away and it would be complete silence. And then that's when it clicked in his mind that they were communicating through him with him telepathically. They weren't actually speaking his language and stuff, and it was just all telepathically in his mind. And he also made the connection that the little gray people that are in the blue suits from his artwork were more of like workers, which was also interesting because when his stories connected to other people, it says that he calls them the grays. So I'm going to stop saying gray beings because that's just wild. He calls them little grays, and they were the workers. And then there was more tall, thin gray beings that he depicts wearing black. And they were the people that were more in charge. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say that the woman that stuck the probe up his nose, he started calling this woman Crescent.
Yes.
And then Crescent is a baddie, y'all.
Crescent is a real baddie.
And then there's a male that looks similar to Crescent, but he has what he calls a knob on top of his head, and that was the dude in charge. Like, that was the dude that all the little grays were answering to. So sometime in his childhood, David finally decides to tell his parents about this, but they obviously didn't believe him. They thought he was crazy. So one day, during an encounter, Crescent shows herself to him, and he feels like he can confide in her. He's not really scared. So he tells Crescent about what his father did, and she's like, well, just don't tell him. You know, just don't tell him. And after that interaction, he started to see Crescent as a mother figure. She saved him multiple times in his life. One time she saved him from getting bit by a poisonous snake. And then one time he was drowning, and he heard a voice in his head that he knew was Crescent, and it said, let him live. And then all of a sudden, his foot got caught by a root, and he was able to like stabilize himself somehow by the root grabbing him up. And then this brings us to the most famous story of all, which happened when he was 17 years old.
Yes. The story that everyone finds the most interesting is this same woman that he feels is like a mother figure to him, Crescent, the baddie, finally decides to really shoot her shot, if you will. So he is in the field, and he happens to look over, like before, and sees this woman under the tree. Describing her, like we said before, black hair, big black eyes, pale skin, long black fingernails, wearing a long blue robe. All of a sudden, he instantly felt aroused. And next thing he knows, he's laying on the ground, she's on top, la-da-da-da-da. He loses his...
ripped off. Like, he saw her and was immediately just ripped off his clothes.
Yeah, immediately took his pants off, everything. Doing deed. And he loses his virginity to an alien, Miss Crescent.
Did you notice in the picture that he drew about this scene of him losing his virginity, his toes are curled?
His toes are curled and his arm is like this.
It's so wild.
After the deed is done, he looks into her eyes And he says that as soon as he looked into her eyes, he passed out.
Mm-hmm.
And when he awoke, she was gone, and he had no memory of what had happened until years later.
It also seems like from watching clips of the movie Love and Saucers that when he saw her, it was like it didn't register in his head that that was Crescent right away. Because at first she was grooming him as a young child and needed to be a motherly figure. But now that he's 17 and he's becoming a man, now she can show herself in a different way. And she was like able to block those motherly memories out of his head. And now he had to see her as a completely different person.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Yeah. And so my next story I was going to talk about is in 1965.
Yeah, he was 19 and he finally decided to leave and go to New York.
Yeah, happens in New York, and he's walking home from class on Fifth Avenue in the rain. And this is also at the time when all the transportation drivers were on a strike at this time, so there was no taxis, no nothing. But it was raining. So all of a sudden, this woman appeared.
And it was just a woman in a black car, is all he remembers.
And she didn't say a word until, getting out. After this, that same night after this woman just appeared out of nowhere, he kept having a dream about this woman coming up to him with her eyes closed and saying, "I'll be back tonight." And he kept having this dream until one day he decided to test it out. And so he left pink flowers out as a test. And the next day they were gone. And the very next night, Crescent revisited him. It was her.
Yeah, so after the flowers, she was like, okay, I'm going to actually let you realize that this is me.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, he likes me.
Okay, and so there's a painting that David painted of her, very detailed. I don't know if we'll include it or not. I don't know if they'll let us, but let's just say Crescent's body is T.
Period. At this point, he's knowingly having sex with Crescent. Like before in the woods, it was just it seemed like it was just like an instinct that was placed in his mind. But at this point, he's actually starting to catch feelings for Crescent, and he's knowingly having sex with her.
Like every night type of thing. And in this painting, he like I said before, there's some that look more human, and then Crescent was like a hybrid of alien human because she had human-like features other than the big eyes and the really pale gray skin.
They're basically dating. And then one day he's just in his apartment painting and Crescent appears through a wall and she's in hysterics crying and she says the baby's dying. And David's like, what are you talking about? What baby? And then she takes the baby out of this strange, he calls it a strange container. And then there's all of a sudden there's a baby there. I guess I kind of feel like there needs to be a movie about this so bad because it's so tea, honestly, because it's like they're catching feelings for each other. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like if this is true, which honestly, I believe this man. I believe that he believes this is true. But when Crescent comes and she's saying that the baby's dying, I feel like David was supposed to never really know about this. Like, we know allegedly that the little Greys, I'm so into this story that I'm fully believing it right now, but I don't know, dude. But the little Greys are known to their purpose being to experiment on humans. So it's like David was chosen to be a breeder for these people. And Crescent was created as a hybrid to be able to do this and make these babies. So she is able to have human emotions. So when she finds out that the baby's dying, she comes to David because they're in a relationship and she's like, I don't know what to do. She holds them around. Yeah. And it's like, David is like, holy crap, you don't know how to take care of this baby because it's not like what y'all are used to. It's more human than even you are, blah, 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 blah. And so he teaches her how to hold the baby and stuff. And then by some crazy phenomenon that nobody understood, when David touches the baby, it's healed and it's able to not die.
And his energy is transferred, is what claiming is what happened.
Yeah.
But he really wants to go back to where they are, her world, to like keep an eye on this baby. And she's like,
Because he's not afraid. Like, I would be so freaking afraid of this child, but he like has a lovingly fatherly instincts towards it and was like, you don't know how to take care of it, so I'm gonna go back with you.
yeah. And she's like, no, you can't go, you're not allowed. And he just keeps asking. And is it when he looked in her eyes and he passed out? He passes out somehow.
Yeah, he passes out. That seems like the main theme of like how they're able to control them. And he passes out and ends up
there
waking up.
World.
Yeah.
In her world. The praying mantis dude was really worried about why are you here? Asked him, why are you here? And he gets really emotional about the child. And supposedly he sees how much David really cares for this child. So he's like, come with me. And they walk in a room where there's hundreds of kids in there. And they're all like they're dying. And so David asks the praying mantis figure, whose kids are these? And the praying mantis figure points at him. So every single time that they had sex, and it's, mind you, he said over 100 kids. So they had a kid every time. They were like, you are going to multiply our species. So he goes and touches every single one of them because he had the fatherly instinct to care for every single one of them. And so every single one of them he goes and touches, and every single time he does it, more energy from him gets drained. He saves them all by just touching them. And so when he goes home to sleep, I guess, that night, he feels so drained. I mean, I would too, giving my energy to hundreds of kids.
Hundreds of alien babies.
And supposedly he starts fucking other ones.
Exactly, dude. That was so wild to me because he's also talking about the whole time how much he's like really beginning to love Crescent, and then he was like also had sex with other alien women. It's like men suck in all circumstances.
Yeah, like the biggest alien hoe. Like he had hoes.
So like we keep trying to keep on a timeline because he also does the same thing in the film. He's trying to like he has a timeline. He seems to know what he's talking about with like despite all of the memories being like the way his memory was working through this. It was like he didn't remember any of this until years later when he was reading a book by Bud Hopkins.
Yeah, and it was married at this point and had a
he ends up. I guess I was like, how the hell is he able to have a real life? How is he able to get married and be a real person in the real world with all this happening? But it's because he's not able to remember everything. So he still thinks like when he's back on Earth living his life and stuff, he meets a woman and gets married and has a son. And then he starts to read this book by Bud Hopkins. And there's a chapter that talked about alien women. And it wasn't until he read that chapter that he remembered everything about Crescent.
And it caused them to have problems in his marriage.
Exactly. Like, would you tell your husband? Would you tell your husband if this happened to you?
No, because I'd be probably put in the psych ward.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, I would have had to tell him because there would be something extremely up with me, and I would have needed to go to the crazy house and live out the rest of my days.
Then I bet Kristen would have shoved up in the psych ward. I'm like, yeah.
It's also worth noting that he wanted to leave Earth behind. He wanted to stay there with his kids and stuff. And like, he still said when he was 72 years old, he was like, if they ever want me to come, I'll come.
Yeah. Yeah, and his son, like, talks about how he believes. Didn't he say he believed everything his dad said?
Yeah, his son said he believed everything.
Yeah. And
a lot of people believe this man.
And the thing is like his wife, like they're getting like separated, having problems, and they realize how hard it is on his son. So they still end up living together. And even after his son moves out, they're still currently, I mean, I don't know if he's passed away or whatever.
He's still alive and they still live together in New Jersey.
In Jersey, yeah.
So the film came out in 2017, and he said that one of the last like really big things that happened was when he was 50, and he calls it a meeting that he had with like the head dude in charge. And basically this was whenever he wanted to share his work with the world and have an art show of all of the paintings that he made, and that the aliens allowed him to do this. It seemed like they were pleased with it and like enjoyed the human creativity that went into it and stuff, and was fine with it, and said that the only time that they had a problem and became pretty angry with him was when he wanted to use his own imagination and like connect the dots where he didn't have any memories and kind of make it like a storyline, and he was using his own imagination for those things, and then he got mad and then he had to destroy those. I think it was interesting that they allowed him to do that.
Yeah.
I don't freaking know, dude. But the wildest part about the things that happened in his later life is one time the praying man disappeared to him again, and was like, and he was told that there was a body waiting for him, and he was actually shown this body, and it was a younger version of himself. And there was no explanation really for it, but he assumed that it was some type of afterlife plan that they had for him. And he also said that he hadn't seen his kids in a long time, but he was still seeing Crescent around once a month at this time.
And she still had to see her man.
Herein,
the father of her child, hundreds of children. Imagine the child support.
And that's really all that there is just these little parts of his memory, parts of what he was able to remember from reading the book. He doesn't know where they came from. And he doesn't try to ask them a lot of questions.
Yeah, like he doesn't know where they're from. He's like, well, I mean, if they tell me, I'll let you know. But he's not like forcing it from them.
Yeah. Which is crazy, and it's probably why there's been like, when people are being skeptical about it and stuff, everybody goes to why him. And that's why they chose him, because anybody else would either be so scared that they would have a heart attack and die. Or literally me. And some people just don't have an open mind enough. Like, people would check themselves into crazy hospitals, like we said, but he was open-minded enough not to ask questions, but to also let them do this to him. So that's why they chose him. That's not that hard of a question to me.
Yeah. You come up to me with some glowing eyes and I pass out, and I wake up somewhere and you stick something up my nose. No. Oh, speaking of, I meant to like make a side note about how you said that they were communicating telepathically. Okay, so more stuff to support this theory that he has going on. Because some people were saying, like, what if this is just like dreams of his? Because apparently he keeps having them at night. But there was like parts that he said that he had during the day. So like, it doesn't make sense. So it came up when my research before, when I was looking at stuff about aliens. This man named Lloyd Bushman, a senior scientist from Rocky Mountain. I'm pretty sure a scientist at Area 51, if I'm not mistaken. He found out when he was trying to allegedly interrogate or interview the aliens that they had there. He realized that they could communicate telepathically, because he would try to he'd go in with these questions, and before he had even asked them the questions, he was saying his answers back to himself in his head. And that's how he found out that they communicate telepathically. Allegedly.
Yeah. I feel like if all this is legit, that would be the most logical explanation besides aliens just knowing English.
Yeah.
The theory that I've seen that makes the most sense to me about David is astro projection, which I didn't really understand what that was, so I looked up the definition, and astral projection is an out-of-body experience where the consciousness separates from the physical body and travels to a different plane. This state is often achieved through deep meditation and a trance-like state. It allows the individual to explore non-physical realms while remaining connected to their physical body. Astral projection is considered a spiritual practice and is rooted in various cultures and religious traditions. It's believed to be the path to deeper wisdom and spiritual growth. And I have seen certain sources that have talked about David that said that he was really into meditation. But it doesn't really grow deeper than that. Like, he doesn't elaborate on the fact that he practices this. But I mean, that's literally basic. That's like the definition of what's going on, except that he really believes that it was happening. But
Yeah.
to outsiders,
Whether I believe that this happened or not, I definitely believe that he believes that this is real. Like, he wholeheartedly believes that this is real. Yeah. Like, and it's not, and it'd be different if he was trying to, like, make some shit up just to sell it to the public or, like, stuff that he doesn't know. But he doesn't care, like, whether you believe him or not. He's going to his story.
He didn't make any money off of this until the film in 2017.
Yeah.
And he hasn't tried to do anything with it after that.
Tell us what y'all think about that.
For real, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I definitely believe in astral projection more than I believe in.
I believe he believes that he is right. I don't know how I feel about everything. I do want to, like, see how his story and his experiences are compared to whatever it is maybe that we'll finally see from the alien files that Trump says that he's going to release. I hope he does release them. It'd be interesting to compare those with what other people say.
It is interesting. You know how, you remember the things that came out about aliens in Mexico? And they were like, I'm pretty sure they were corpses of aliens.
Mm-hmm.
But they were little. They were, like, really small, like kind of how he described the little grays to be.
Yeah. The little grays is crazy. We're both wearing blue. Are we the business people?
This is my little worker little gray suit.
Dark hair. You got blue eyes.
Oh yeah, guys. He later said that that Crescent and the other woman aliens were wearing wigs because their hair was often lopsided and messed up. Imagine Crescent going up in the wig before her little booty call and was like, "Let me get that one, please."
Like a range of different wigs, like at the hair store. Let me get that one, put it on sideways, and like rough it up a little bit.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of That Sounds Like a Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Our audio issues should never happen again. Thank the Lord. And
like us, and turn on the post notifications, please.
Yes. Press all of our buttons. We love you guys.
Hopefully we said everything right. At the bare minimum, we should say the names right.
Don't forget. Don't be shy to call us out, you know?
Yeah, don't forget to leave a comment, good or bad. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I love y'all. Don't forget to go follow on social media. That _ sounds like a podcast on TikTok. Run that up like y'all did it on here. We love y'all. And yes. Bye.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.